Hello, this is Valerie Moore from the Frederian Gazette. Today is the 120th anniversary of the Battle of Trippé. We dedicate this episode of Say I Slew Them Not to the brave Icatel who gave their lives during the First Shadow War. As always, this episode is written by Kingsley, edited by Alexander Phillips, and narrated by Pepper Holloway. Content warnings for this episode include references to mass death, colonial violence, war, physical maiming and disfigurement, extreme loss, and racism. This program has been sponsored by Kingsley's Stain Bidon cleaning fluid. It happens to us all. A half hour before your guests are set to arrive, and there's a giant stain on your best tablecloth. What are you to do? Never fear, Kingsley's Stain Bidon is here to spray, dab, and watch the stain disappear. We now pass the mic to Pepper Holloway, who will be reading Episode 3, Claiming Martyrdom Does Not Justify War Crimes, states Prosecution in Kingsley's trial. A pamphlet honoring the 19th anniversary of the Battle of Trippé. Last Tuesday was the 19th anniversary of Trippé. The Bercassin police honored the holiday by beating 7 Icatel to death for practicing the Hevian right to assembly and free speech. For most Hevians, Trippé is just a word. For us, Icatel, Trippé is the culmination of 100 years of abuse and torment. In our forbidden language, Ikali, Trippé means resting place. It is sacred land, the origin place for the Mariatich. It seems even our ancestors knew of the tragedy that would one day unfold. When the Hevian, Shadow, and Cividone governments started the Shadow War and begged their youngest and brightest to fight for their colonies, we Icatel refused. The Hevians can lie with Shadis tongue, but the Shadow War was a colonial war, and there is nothing more ignoble than fighting for the right to colonize others. Instead, Icatel joined our oppressed brethren and fought for ourselves. What the Hevians label as treachery, we claim as the only honorable act possible in a world gone mad. For 2 years, we undermined the colonial machinery that ground the world's youth into bloody mincemeat. When the Hevians came to us on their knees and offered us Shardif's bargain, we foolishly took them at their word. Surely the Hevians wouldn't be so depraved as to ask us to sacrifice our best for nothing. Surely they would honor their promise to liberate our lands if we saved them from the Shadow Menace. An unforgivable mistake made by those who should have known better. Empire cannot be reasoned with or redeemed. It can only be destroyed. Yet we marched to the foothills of Trippé, a village smaller than a thimble. Our orders were to hold until the last. For 8 days we bled. The Shadows massed the 9th and 8th Corps against our makeshift army, 58,000 Shadows against 28,000 poorly equipped and barely trained Icatel. Our knowledge of the terrain and our intimate understanding of guerrilla and defensive warfare was our only advantage. The Shadows' sheer numbers and artillery should have wiped us out during the first day. Each day began with a heavy bombardment that tore through our ranks like boulders through glass. We held our dying friends to our chests, half of their faces torn away by shrapnel and gunpowder, limbs ripped apart at the seams like our friends were nothing more than rag dolls. We placed hands on cold shoulders of dead friends, who only a moment before had been sharing a raunchy joke to keep our spirits up. We stumbled upon blood-lined craters where a trio of brothers once stood. We carried who we could to the rear, to the makeshift field hospital that had no morphine, no water, no shade from the merciless sun. After the bombardment came the shrill war cry of the Shadows as they marched across the field, our guns making fleeting dents in their line. Dents almost instantly filled by more soldiers eager for their mother's cold embrace. We had 2 pieces of artillery that blew up on themselves by the 2nd day. For the next 5 days we held the Shadows at bay through hand-to-hand fighting and sheer will. 28,000 Icatel answered Hiva's call. 9,000 remained standing when the Shadows finally withdrew. The ground beneath our feet was soaked with so much blood it oozed with every step. Our dead were never gathered and properly laid to rest. Instead, Trippé was turned into a haunted graveyard, cared for only by the sorrowful Mariatich. Our meager force was wasted in other battles, and when 4,000 of us disbanded after the war, at least half of us ended in jail for various minor infractions, while the rest succumbed to alcohol, drugs, and abusive landlords and overseers. Hiva may have already forgotten about its broken oath and the sacrifice it asked of its many colonies and owned cities, but we at Cartel will never forget. Hiva will never know peace until they fulfill their oath and Kilbradra is free. The martyrs of Trippé live. Signed, the ILA. You've just heard claiming martyrdom does not justify war crimes. State's prosecution in Kingsley's trial from Say I Slew Them Not by Kingsley Montefello. Tonight's episode was read by Pepper Holloway and was sponsored by McKinsley's Stain Be Gone cleaning fluid, the stain remover you want for those impossible to remove stains. Be sure to light a candle for the martyrs of Trippé today. Also be sure to follow us on Instagram at Frederian Gazette and go to our website www.thefrederiangazette.com. That's www.FERDARIAN Join us next Wednesday at 5 p.m. for Episode 4, Kingsley's trial interrupted by protesters reading the names of a cartel murdered by Hivian soldiers and police.